Hello and welcome to a pick a card reading. We are going to look at this full moon lunar eclipse super flower blood moon. That's a mouthful, but basically we have a full lunar eclipse that is going to be visible in like Australia, Eastern Asia, and the west coast of the United States. And it's at like, I think it starts at like 1 something a.m., lasts till about 4 something a.m. Pacific time, if you're in the States or on the West Coast. But what we're looking at as far as the energy goes, in my opinion, and based on what I feel and believe, is going to be, I feel like this is an opportunity for shadow work. Everything's an opportunity for shadow work. However, it is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and Sagittarius is very synonymous with like a truth teller, like wants things exposed, wants to be, very, they're very upfront, very, the sign itself is a very out, like visible out there, needs to be seen kind of stuff. That kind of energy is what I get from Sagittarius. But I believe truth telling, that kind of stuff is going to be like a key word for Sagittarius. But I feel like that's what we're headed towards. We have had conversations on the socials about like, what is it called? The upcoming disclosure of like aliens and other whatever extraterrestrial type information being released. That is also part of this energy. It's about like exposure. So what we want to look at, I think, will be beneficial, especially if you're watching this and you are already feeling pulled based on whatever I decide to title it later. That we're looking at what kind of shadow work, not necessarily what kind of shadow work you can be doing, but what the full moon and the eclipse itself, what are you keeping from yourself? What lies do you tell yourself that you could, how could you expose yourself to yourself? And that is a very shadow work type of thing. And I feel like because it's an eclipse and we have that shadow aspect, that it is a very good time to like reveal yourself to yourself. So what are you lying to yourself about that you could expose? And it would be a good time for that to be something to work on in your personal journey. So yeah, that's what we're going to look at. I'm going to do 3 stacks. I've been shuffling these cards this whole time. Oh yeah, if you're new to my channel, my name is Melissa, and I do pick a card tarot readings, random, things that are in the news, that kind of stuff. I do readings on weird topics. I am going to be going live this Friday, the 28th. Yes, the 28th at 7 p.m. Pacific time, and do zodiac readings. So I'm going to do a full zodiac. I'm going to go through each sign and do a little quickie for the zodiacs. And then at the end, I will open it up for personal questions. I don't do personal readings, so this is the only way to get me to read for you. It is like a little mini reading. Nothing, too bad, nothing too crazy, because it will be live and there will be other people watching. So I will do my best not to call you too hard on your shit. But we will be doing live on Friday. It will be my first live, like, one-on-one. I did one live where we just kind of pulled cards and used the Necrophonic app. I just dropped a bunch of cards. Hold on. This will be a little different from that. So, but if you're new to the channel, that's what I do. I talk about crystals a lot and shadow work, and I don't just do tarot readings. I also do witchy unboxings. So if that's your sort of thing, I am not going to just ask you to subscribe. Don't just subscribe. Head over to the channel, watch a few videos, see if we vibe. Then you make a decision, because I do some weird stuff. I mean, and not super weird, but it's not super niched down like everybody else's channels. It's my channel, and I share with you what I think that you would want to see or what I think you need to know. So that's that. And we're going to do 3 piles of cards to see what lies are you telling yourself that you could work on with the energy of this eclipse. So kind of a shadow work exercise. All right. Okay. I'm going to grab another deck. I had not really decided ahead of time, other than this deck, which is my go-to deck. I think I'm going to do this plus an Oracle, and we're going to go with... while I grab it off of my shelf, we're going to go with the Fairy Oracle, or Oracle of the Fairies. So let's pop that off. I'm literally just throwing all of this stuff on the floor. I'll pick it up later. All right, these beautiful cards. Let's get one for each stack. Looking for messages about how we can expose ourselves to ourselves and work through limiting beliefs. All right, I'm going to tidy those up so you can pause and choose. All right, they are ready for you to pause and choose stack 1, stack 2, or stack 3. All right, we're going to start with stack number 1. Move those over. I figured out on my phone, which is what I record on, that if you hit the pause button while it's recording, it will pause the recording. You can move your stuff around and then unpause the recording, and I don't have to edit it later. So, yeah, I don't like to edit my videos. All right, if you chose stack number 1, we have the King of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups, and the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, we have a lot of pentacle, well, yeah, a fair amount of pentacle energy in here, especially with the King. I feel like what you're kind of lying to yourself about that maybe you could work on is the amount of effort that you're putting into your own happiness. Are you really putting in the effort? Are you just kind of waiting for it to come to you? I feel like with the King and the 7 of Pentacles here, it's like, I feel like you feel like you're putting in a lot of effort, and maybe even have an illusion of happiness going on here, but that you're really not digging in as deep as you could. You're really not putting in the effort that you could be putting in. And on a subconscious level, because that's what shadow work is, dealing with, I feel like on a subconscious level, you're not putting in enough work. But you're putting in, like, I get it. Like, I get the King here as almost like a facade. Like you are putting in enough effort to be seen as putting in effort, to be perceived. It's about perception. I'm getting like the perception of work is not really lining up with the actual activity level here. I feel like on the surface you're happy, but on the deep shit, you're not going deep enough. You're not being honest with yourself as in relation to what it is, the amount of effort that you're actually putting into building your happiness. Okay, I feel like it's really kind of a surface level happiness. So you don't want people to know that you're unhappy. So I feel like you kind of hide that unhappiness from yourself. But you could be doing more work. And I feel this as in physical work with the Pentacles. It's physical labor that you're okay with, like doing like a meditation type of thing to get your happiness going, something that's a little less active. But there are more things that you could physically put your hands into or your body into, in order to create a deeper happiness. So whatever that looks like for you, if there's a physical activity that maybe you used to do that you don't do anymore, maybe get back into that. Pull, and I feel like maybe like shadow work and journaling go together so well. Possibly sit down and journal out things, physical activities that you either would like to try doing or that you used to do that maybe you stopped doing. Physical activities that you don't like doing. That's a big shadow work trigger there too, because I feel like there may be a physical activity that you can't stand doing. So in order to avoid doing that, you don't do other things that maybe go along with that. So if that makes sense, I feel like I'm not making sense even to myself, but I feel like it may make sense to whoever needs to hear it. But yeah, I feel like physical activity, there's some physical aspect of how you're dealing with your own happiness that is just not getting deep enough. So let's see what the fairy oracle has to say. Ooh, the oracle of the fairies. Come together. Fairies like to be busy, and a group of them is showing you that many hands make light work. Working as a team helps get the job done. So I feel like maybe there is somebody that needs to help you with your physical thing. Maybe getting a workout buddy, or, a group of people together that will help you get your hands dirty. And they're very, very much in tune with the earth. They're watering plants. We have the bees, worker bees, they're working. So it goes together very well with what I said, but many hands make light work. I say this to my kids all the time. If something feels overwhelming, maybe you just need somebody to be there with you while you do it. You may not actually need physical help doing whatever the task is, but just maybe having somebody there to talk to while you're doing it can be helpful. So many hands make light work doesn't necessarily mean all hands need to be on deck. It could just be, a hand that is on your shoulder guiding you, or a hand at your back that's kind of keeping you from slipping backwards. Like many hands could mean many things. So whatever that means to you, that is your message about this eclipse and full moon, full super blood flower moon. But that's your message if you chose this deck or this stack. We're going to move on to stack number 2. Alrighty, stack number 2. All right, we have the 4 of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the 2 of Pentacles, and the Page of Swords. Wow, very, very different energy from the first one. Very different energy from the first one. I feel like there's something in your communication that is not getting where it needs to go. Now, we are talking about shadow work and self-reflection. I feel like maybe there are some truths that you are telling yourself that are not entirely true. I feel like it's like it's like something, but I'm getting like a sense of denial. You know something to be true, but you're telling yourself that it's not true. This could be in relation to a relationship, kind of. I don't feel like this is a romantic relationship. This could be in relation to another person. There is like a gnat. This could be in relation to another person. Could be a child, could be a friend, or potential love interest. But I feel like everybody here is look at their expression. So the only person in all of these people or characters that has a smile, kind of, has their eyes closed. So it's kind of like, I get denial. Normally the 4 of Swords is not necessarily about denial. It's more about rest and, meditation and going, kind of maybe going no contact in some cases. But I'm getting a sense of denial here, or maybe you're denying this person in your life access to you in some way. So I'm getting, youth from the page, but I'm also getting potential partner. This doesn't necessarily mean romantic partner. And then we have the 2 of Pentacles right here in the middle, which is kind of trying to weigh options, or, where to place your energy. I really get a very specific, for the two of Pentacles in this reading. I'm kind of getting getting a specific scenario. So this may not resonate for a whole lot of people, but I feel like it's like somebody trying to make a choice between their child and their partner. That's really with these 3 cards here. Then we add into the mix this 4 of Swords, and I get this denial, like, What are you denying yourself because of fear? What are you denying yourself because you are afraid to be honest with yourself? I feel like you're. How do I want to say this without sounding like a complete bitch? Um, I feel like you're just lying to yourself. You don't want to deal with emotions, so you're dealing with words instead. So it's like you're. I guess the simplest way I can put it is that it seems like you're lying to yourself, and I've probably said that 4 or 5 times. Um, it's something that you know to be true, but you are just refusing to acknowledge it. And I know it doesn't seem that way from, looking at the cards. It's just an intuitive sense that I get from the cards. There's just too much, I feel like, back and forth. But I feel like there is an inner peace that comes from peace, 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 that comes from acknowledging that. Like, what it feels like is that you have something to say, but you don't want to say it because you're afraid of a reaction. You're afraid of maybe even making a decision that may not go as planned. Um, but it all comes down to how you're communicating with yourself. Okay, let's see what the fairy oracle of the fairies has to say. Motivation. When spring approaches, the flower fairies urge you to spring into action. If there's something you've been merely thinking about doing, they say, get busy and do it. So, yeah, you're not taking action on the thing. And it could be this denial that I'm sensing is a lack of motivation. It could be, I feel like you just need to be motivated to be honest with yourself. I feel like deep down, there's something that you've been thinking about or thinking about doing that you are trying to suppress. But what this eclipse energy and this full moon energy are kind of pulling out of you is that you need to deal with it. You need to get busy and do it. You need to work on this. You need to open a line of communication with your higher self, with your physical self, but opening communication. So again, same as the last stack, journaling for shadow work, they just are peanut butter and jelly. So I feel like just if you can't say it out loud or you don't want to tell any other people, whatever this is, I get kind of a secret or something that you're denying yourself that is true. If you don't want to tell anyone or if you don't want to speak it out loud, then write it down, write it in a letter and burn it, whatever you have to do, but it needs to be dealt with in some way. And I sense a need for release of energy here. So I feel like you've been kind of holding something in that needs to be let go. But get busy and do it is what the fairies say, and I agree. So that is your reading for this stack. We're going to move on to stack number 3. Stack number 3. I hit the wrong button and I'm going to have to join these together and edit them after all. 8 of Swords, Queen of Swords, and the Hierophant. Very interesting. This is definitely some hardcore energy of lying to yourself or trying to protect yourself, but at your own disadvantage. And then we have the Queen of Swords talks about communication. She's looking over here at the Hierophant. Like on a good day, the Queen of Swords is where you want to go if you need to hear words of encouragement or motivation or words just to affirm you or validate you in some way. On a bad day, she is a cutthroat, take no shit, wordsmith. And like, I think of her as an author, and her sword is like a pen of creativity, but also knowledge. And she has the power to either create or destroy using that. And then we have the Hierophant over here, which is a teacher, but also talks about, organizations or organized groups, religions, that sort of thing, educational systems or other type of systems that are in place. And I feel like what's going on for you is you're trying to shield yourself from, and I feel like these two interact and you're over here just like not trying to have any of it. I feel like you are putting yourself on the outside of a situation that needs to be dealt with. So it may be time to take off the blindfold and participate in whatever you're trying to avoid. So I feel like maybe there, again, also about truth. Back to the whole energy of the eclipse and it being in Sagittarius, the Queen of Swords is about truth. So depending on what this represents in your life, this could be about truth. This could be about miscommunication. This could be about like an organization who hides the truth. So I feel like you know the truth, but you're trying to stay out of it. And I feel like it's time for you to participate in whatever this discussion is. But yeah, I feel like you're on the outside of an issue that you're trying to avoid dealing with. But I feel like you know the truth and you could be an assistance to whatever the scenario is. Now, this doesn't necessarily represent two people, but it could be systems and organizations, ideas that could use your help in clearing some things up. So let's see what the Oracle of the Fairies say. Friendship. Interesting. Fairies and humans alike need friends. Now is the time to seek out those who will support and encourage you on your journey to fulfill your dreams. So, yeah. I feel like you're the support person in this scenario. I do. People come at me in the comments for the meanings of cards occasionally, and that's just how I see it. I read intuitively. Yes, I know the traditional meanings of the cards. Just sometimes it doesn't feel that way to me. And that's just how I read. So I know that's not the normal thing here, but I feel like this energy over here is you resisting participation in something. And it's like the fairy card says, you need friends. You need people who support and encourage you on your journey to fulfill your dreams. I feel like you are actually not just the one that's in need of friends, but you are the assistant. You are the support. You are able to encourage. I just feel like you need to break free of your own personal hang-ups that are preventing you from participating in that. So I would encourage you to explore things like, why don't I want to share my truth? Or why is it that I prefer to keep things to myself? Why do I struggle sharing or relating to other people? Something along those lines would be very helpful with shadow work and embracing that, the energy of the eclipse and the full super blood flower moon. Okay. So that is what I have for you. If that resonated, please let me know. If I am completely talking out of my ass, you may also say that in the comments, and I will leave it there because uncensored. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Happy full moon, happy eclipse energy. Do with it what you need. And I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.